Hi everyone, I am Bb.ReneeceZah and now I am going to discuss about the categorical imperative that was raised by Immanuel Kant. The purpose of this report is to clarify the categorical imperative and also the hypothetical imperative explanation that was raised by Immanuel Kant and also raised by some criticism to this ethical theory. Immanuel Kant explained the categorical imperative as an ethical behavior that one must act only in accordance with that maxim true, which you can at the same time, with that it become a universal law. This is almost a self-explanatory for what Kant argues that an action is morally permissible only if that action can become a law that everybody must follow. In understanding this concept, it is important to understand exactly what Kant means by the term categorical and also the term imperative. Kant described the imperative as the formula of the command in all imperative are expressed through an ought to or duty. An imperative is like a command that occurs through pure reason with respect to empirical data. An imperative can then come in two forms, which are hypothetical and categorical. A hypothetical imperative is a command of practical necessity and does not really pertain to moral obligatory action. The second imperative is categorical, and this means that the action is objectively necessary without any reference to another end. With a categorical type of imperative mind, it is easier to understand what is meant by hypothetical imperative. Since a categorical imperative is something done without any regard for the end result, then the hypothetical imperative is something done out of a means of an end. A hypothetical imperative has a good or aim for itself and focuses on the end result. Kant was not necessarily against the hypothetical imperative, but did not see it as an explanation for moral duties. Morality is something that is component of the will. The will does not focus on the aftermath of an action not dependent on the end result. The action would have to be good in itself and necessary for it to be morally permissible. The categorical imperative is therefore the foundation of the will for morality, since it comes from the sense of duty irrespective for the end result. To decide which action is morally permissible, Kant specifically states that one must act only in accordance with that maxim true, which you can at the same time, with that it become a universal law. The best way to understand this is through an explanation that Immanuel Kant provides. Kant argues that it goes against the categorical imperative to tell a lie. To tell a lie, it goes against the universal law of nature, because it ends up being a contradiction in itself, since promises would not mean anything. This is why telling a lie is morally wrong, because a person is willing a contradiction and then result in doing human nature harm, because everybody would start in promising with no intention in fulfilling their promises. In the other words, somebody is using somebody else as means by telling a lie to forward their own personal gain, which is against in the categorical type of imperative. The categorical imperative and hypothetical imperative are very important, and to distinguish one from the other is crucial, since this is one of Kant's most influential arguments and something that he keeps coming back to. I do believe this to be a strong ethical argument because it attempts to establish an ethical theory of morality, and seeing of that action can be deemed as a universal law. And now we are going to discuss the two tests of morally praiseworthy action. The first is morally permissible and the second one is morally imperative. In morally permissible, ask yourself if it is okay for anyone to act in the same way, while in morally imperative, ask yourself if it would be a good rule so that anyone else must act in the same way. And now the question is the categorical imperative the same as the golden rule? Probably no. In Kant version, treat others in a way that can be rationally universalized. For example, don't cheat because it is wrong. Inherent on doing business, it is the idea of fair exchange of value, and if one universalized of cheating, it would be contradicting to the every idea of exchange goods. not an instance of business, but an instance of theft.